Hello, good morning. Hope you're well. Okay, so we've got some charts to look at today. A few nice looking setups. A lot of them are pip snatchers, but there's a few other ones as well. The yen we're looking at yesterday, as predicted, didn't really do very much. That was predictable because of the presumably because of the news that's due out today, and they're still not saying when, so that'll surprise the market. But there's still lots of other stuff to talk about, so we'll get stuck into that and hopefully give you some ideas, or maybe just agreeing with what you've already seen. Maybe you're disagreeing. Maybe I missed something. That wouldn't surprise me. There's plenty to see in these charts. Right, so you should be able to see my screen. Let's get going with Aussie CAD. Aussie CAD. Okay, so we've had this resistance level here. It got broken and then retested and it's breaking away again. So I'm predicting an update here. My DDP is up, mainly because of what we're seeing on the 1 hour chart as well. Now on the 1 hour chart, we've got a trend line that's I've adjusted a bit. It's something around here. There's something here that broke above it. Maybe there's something here as well with these lows. Not that obvious, not that clear, but it's definitely above it now. Now looking at the MACD, so the MACD, there is a MACD divergence between this high and the recent high, but we've had below the zero line and then breaking up above the zero line. So that usually does a reset, which means it's kind of starting a new wave up. In which case, since this low here, we've been having higher highs. Or had one higher high. So it still looks okay to me for a pip snatcher. There's a number of them, so I think you'll have a good choice today, hopefully, if you get some setups, some pullbacks. So this is a good looking pip snatcher, Aussie CAD, any time of day. The 1 hour 50 is pretty close to the pivot, which is good. So if it comes back in the next 3 or 4 hours, it could be perfect. And that will be a nice quick 1-to-1. With a bit of trend line protection there as well, should it come down and wick down lower. So that looks okay. Let's look at Euro Aussie. Euro Aussie. So Euro had a bad day yesterday. I'm not sure. I didn't see any news personally. I don't follow the news anyway. There's no news scheduled. But we've seen it stalling at this level, the daily 50 for quite a few days. And then suddenly, bam, it just went down yesterday. If you look at the 1 hour chart, we can see it happened in the space of an hour, basically. It just dropped. Let's look at the 5 minute, see if there's just one big news event. No, it's actually a reasonably controlled descent, but still pretty dramatic. And that had come across on a few euro pairs. So euro was obviously the culprit, not the Aussie dollar in this case. So what does that give us? Well, it could be an ACBB, but I think probably there's no clean ACB here. There's no nice clean wedge. You could say there's a level there. No, I don't like it. So pip snatch is the way to go. Quick 1-to-1, going short. 1 hour 50 has a few hours to catch up. If it falls back in those few hours, then that could be a nice little quick 1-to-1 short trade. So that looks good. Euro CAD. So Euro CAD, nice acceleration at this strong resistance level, and then bam, we had that drop yesterday on the euro. And a similar kind of thing here, the big 1 hour candle. The trend line we had was brokenly tested and retested again. Even broke through briefly, and then it broke to the downside. Clean through the 1 hour 50, down to the 4 hour 50. And now it's been going sideways. Hopefully we'll get a pullback, recharge, and then a short trade. Now this one we can trade as an IBO. IBOC, we've already reached the 4 hour 50, so we're going to trade through it again. I don't think you'll get a pip snatcher in here before the 4 hour 50. But an IBOC looks on the cards if you play those. They are a little bit less reliable because you playing through the 4-hour 50, but under the right conditions, they can be very rewarding. So pullback, Euro CAD, that's 6 to 8 hours away before that sets up. And that time, that 1-hour 50 will probably come down to where the pivot is. Yeah, so see how that looks like when the setup time about 6 to 8 hours. But it looks like a nice IBOC. Stop behind here, trading down to maybe these lows here, or you could be a bit less aggressive and go down to the daily 20, which is this thin red line. It's only 1.4, so I personally wouldn't take the risk of 1.4%. But you could go down to these lows here, or even take it a fair bit lower. But that's looking like a nice setup should we get the pullback. Okay, Euro Swiss. Lots of Euro similarities, so we'll go speed up a little bit the Euro pairs. So Euro Swiss, we're getting a resistance level being respected and a nice breakdown yesterday on the 1-hour chart. It was just bumbling around the 1-hour 50 and then just took off down to the 4-hour 50, pulled back a bit, and then we had that event, whatever happened, and then the Euro blasted down again. So now we're looking for a pullback. We could get a Euro Swiss 8 hours time. The 1-hour 50 is a bit of a long way behind, but they might catch up maybe to the pivot. So we might have to wick through the 4-hour 50, sorry, to 382 on the fib. So we might have to wick through the 4-hour 50 to the 1-hour 50 and the 382 on the fib and through the pivot. So here, give us an entry and then trade that short down to the daily 50. Yeah, that seems like a good target. Should that pull back in the right time frame? So that looks pretty good as well. Hopefully we'll get something out of that one. And you see lots of choice with the euro, so find whichever one sets up best for you. Right, euro pound, another one with not quite such a clean action, kind of going upward bias until the last few days, and then now we've had this big blast downwards. On the 1-hour chart, what do we get? Well, we're clean through the 1-hour 50 and the 4-hour 50 without a decent pullback. So maybe we'll get a nice little pip snatcher here. The 1-hour 50 is a long way behind though, so it's a lot of catching up to do. Let's adjust that, doesn't look quite so bad now, but it's still a long way behind. So that might not set up quite so nicely, but just keep an eye on it. Euro yen. So the yen didn't do much yesterday. That was predictable. That was nice. Euro yen wasn't so bad because of the euro action. So here we had a nice breakdown, and here we might get a nice pip snatcher 1-to-1. The 1-hour 50 is quite a way behind that. It's got some catching up to do, but that's okay. Maybe that'll work out well. But yen news today, so I would not take this trade before we get the yen news being announced, because anything that could really destroy your trade. So look out for that one after the yen news, whatever it may be. Euro dollar, that's been stalling and now looking like it's going down. On the daily, on the 1-hour chart, yeah, sideways action, not much happening. Then there's big blast down yesterday. Should we get a pullback? Get a nice IBO and an IBO short, an IBO A or B. Not quite sure without looking into it more. Probably 4-hour chart, lower low, do a lower high. Probably not. So it'd probably be an IBOB, because the 4-hour will not have a lower high. Although it could count the double top, it's up to you how you do it. But pull back to 382, IBO short, stop placement behind here. Target down to 30-20, or you could take it a lot lower if you wanted to. So there's some good potential on that one. Pound CAD. Not seen much from the pound recently. It's not been a very clean action. This has been respecting this trend line. We've had in there for a few days, but no decent price action. But yesterday we got quite a bullish day. Maybe that's going to continue today. And for this one, I think the best bet, because of it's not been a great price action, just a quick pip snatcher 1-to-1. The fib's looking good, recharged a bit. Yeah, that looks good for a nice quick 1-to-1 fib snatcher. Pound dollar, remember it's looking pretty similar. Kind of meandering upwards, and then we had quite a bullish day yesterday. And if you look at our 1 hour chart, we can see that 1 hour's not too far behind. Could be a nice quick fib snatcher 1-to-1 going along there. So that's looking okay as well. Kiwi CAD. Kiwi CAD, it's been not doing much for the last while. Actually, it's at this level here, so maybe a bit of caution because we're at these recent highs. Not that it is going to be any resistance, but it may be. But we've got some upward momentum from yesterday. And looking at the 1 hour chart, we can see a nice trend line. The MACD still trending upwards. That looks good. And a quick fib snatcher 1-to-1. The 1 hour 50 is under here somewhere. So that could catch up. It could be a nice fib snatcher as well. Last one to look at, dollar Swiss. It's been almost respecting this the daily 50s, daily 20-50 zone. It's been pulling into it, then rejecting it, pulling into it, rejecting it. Are we at these lows or just below them? We're kind of at these lows, so maybe that's some kind of support. But yesterday was definitely a down day. And looking at the 1 hour chart, we have some kind of trend line here. We have a possible fib snatcher. MACD still looks good. So everything looks good there for a decent fib snatcher short, quick 1-to-1. And these fib snatchers also, bear in mind, you could take them possibly as hyper trades, depending on where your profit target would be. So this one, because we'll be in new lows soon, you could just be taking as a fib snatcher, as a hyper trade possibly. Probably not, but it's always an option. So there we go. That's what I've got for you. There's quite a lot to look at. I hope you found that interesting. I hope you saw some of those setups yourself. Wary of the yen news later. Good luck in the markets. Lots to look at. Lots to keep an eye on. Hopefully something nice will set up for us later. I wish you all the best. I will speak to you tomorrow. Take care.